there's not too much background noise. That's my APU running. At least it's actually running for once. I shouldn't say that. It works great like 30% of the time. I'll get in the truck, it's like icy cold, it's like too cold, which is great. I like that. And then when I really need it to work, which is when I'm sleeping, it just keeps shutting off. I can't tell you, like last night, I was up pretty much all night. I kept having to get up and turn the truck on to run the AC. Anyway, it's pretty hazy out. As you can see, I have, I'm using cinematic mode, so it looks blurry intentionally in the background, but you can probably still tell the sky is hazy. I'm also in a dusty gravel lot, but I'm in a staging area because my company sent me to this pickup at 5 p.m. when I started my clock today at 5:45 this morning. So those of you who are doing the math, and those of you who know what a DOT clock is like, understand why that is stupid. I'm probably going to be stuck sitting in this lot overnight after I get loaded, and I haven't had a shower today, but at least I got to take one last night, so I don't feel super gross. We're gonna take the good old hose shower in the truck with all the wide variety of wipes that I have. I always say I'm gonna make a video talking about my must-have truck items, and I never do, but one of them is I always keep a bottle of tea tree oil, and I have a spray bottle that I mix tea tree oil with water, and it's my clean everything spray. It's good for cleaning utensils, it's good for cleaning your body, it's antibacterial, it's gentle, it smells nice. Highly recommend it, and it's cheap. It's a very cheap way to do it. So there's today's TMI. But I'm out here, I'm about to do some little band walks to work on some hip strength, and I'm gonna do some kettlebell swings. I just went for a nice walk. I can't emphasize this enough. Sorry, I'm being rude talking in my sunglasses. I always say that, but I have sensitive eyeballs. I can't emphasize this enough. Even if you've been trucking for a while and you need a reminder of this, or if you're somebody who is just getting into it, you have to get out of your truck. You have to get out of your truck and get away from your truck. Go for a walk, because being in the truck all the time and being around your truck all the time, it's not good for your head, man. You need to like get away from it and get a change of scenery. So I went for a walk through a neighborhood, and it was nice to just look at people's houses and look at people's lawns and the flags they have outside and the little signs, and just be walking through a neighborhood like a regular human being, because trucking can be very dehumanizing. Like spending the night overnight in a gravel lot with no bathroom access, that kind of stuff can feel dehumanizing. Not having access to showers, all that stuff. So you got to find little moments to be a person. Find a way, make it work. Good morning, my friends. Yeah, I'm wearing my WBEZ shirt again. I really like this shirt. I'm super, I'm just fatigued, and my eye won't stop twitching because I haven't had a decent night's sleep in a couple of weeks. This has been a really frustrating morning, and it's weird because I thought it was going to be pretty straightforward because they sent me to a place that I've been to a bunch of times, and it's usually a simple drop and hook. This time, I went to the normal first place that you check in. He said, oh, you got to go down the street, which actually involved going down the highway like a mile and getting off another exit, and it's all slow because there's much more car traffic in this area and all this stuff. So I get to that other guard shack, and then she tells me, no, I can't receive this load here. You have to go back to that same building and check in again with them, and then they're going to send you to the docks that are around the side. I'm like, okay, so I go back to the first building. The guy totally gives me an attitude. Total attitude, which was weird because they're usually pretty cool here, but I don't know. Oh man, so this is one of those places where you have to back into the door with the doors closed, and I forgot I had my padlock on it, so he had to come and get the key for me. He said he would unload me quickly. It was supposed to be a drop and hook, and to tell you the truth, he said he's a really nice kid, younger guy. He's like, I'll get you out of here in 30 minutes. I was like, all right, cool. On a day like today where it's hot, and now I'm heading down to motherfucking Texas. No offense, Texans, but I don't like going to Texas. It's just hot and gross, and there's whatever. I'm not going to complain because I'm going to have to go there again, I'm sure. I'm going to have to go to plenty of places I don't want to go. Let's see how long I last in this trucking adventure before I cry uncle and say, put me on a Midwest regional route. I'll deal with the Chicago traffic, but at least I'll know where I can park and I won't be hot all the time. What's up, y'all? I'm in Texas again. I'm in southern Texas, close to the Gulf. Whew, the heat is on another level. And I feel like kind of a jerk talking about heat because so many of us, like everywhere, are going through it, and I can't complain about the intensity of the heat when I am blessed to be able to spend most of my time in air conditioning. Although I look forward to not being in this particular truck with the bad APU because it's really weird. Like sometimes it works like gangbusters and I get in and it's like opening a refrigerator door, you know, it's like so nice and cold. It seems like it goes out the most at night when I'm trying to sleep. And I think I woke up last night, I don't even know, 5 times, 8 times, and turned the truck on and off. And I should just leave the truck idling overnight, but I'm worried about the exhaust getting mucked up, and I'm worried about, like, I don't know, it doesn't matter with the company anymore. It's like I already left, you know, but I don't know, I still feel weird about wasting fuel. I wonder how much less the APU actually burns. But I feel wasteful. But when it's this hot, you have to have air conditioning if you're in a metal box and that's where you live. I'm at this Sam's DC, and it's the kind of place where you check in, you wait for them to call you when they have a door ready for you. You have to slide your tandems back before they let you through the gates. You got to maneuver around with your tandems back, but this place is super spacious. It's a really tiny DC, so it's real easy. And then you got to back in, chalk your wheels, disconnect from the trailer, and actually move over to a staging area and sit there. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this eyelid is twitching hardcore today, and it's because that's what happens when I get sleep deprived for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty like highly functioning for sleep deprivation. I feel like I have adapted to it, which is not good. And the thing, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say something annoying. I'm not gonna apologize, I just did. No, one of the things that troubles me the most about ongoing sleep deprivation, which I don't care what any trucking company tells you, it's a part of trucking, it's part of the life. And just go talk to someone who's been trucking for 10 or 20 years and just look at their face. Just look at their face and it'll tell you everything you need to know. Their eyes will be more, when they're stone sober, their eyes will be bloodshot and glassy. They'll have darker skin around the eyes. They'll have generally more sun damage on their skin from sitting in a giant fishbowl all day. But I have noticed the changes in my eyes from the hours of sitting and focusing on the road, and probably sun exposure is part of that, although I wear these, as you guys know, all the time to protect my eyes and make it so I can actually see things. The thing that really concerns me is that one of the costs of ongoing sleep deprivation is there's a strong link between that and dementia and Alzheimer's, which is a type of dementia. And it's because there are these plaques that build up in the brain, and they're called plaques, and I don't know exactly what those are, but I think they're basically like waste products that build up in the brain. It's so fascinating how your body has these mechanisms to keep itself healthy that are just like cyclical, you know, and sleep is critical to the process. The time that you sleep, the amount of time is critical. There's my call. I'll be right back. Here's something fun. Side note, I am sitting here waiting to get in my door, and I'm backed up in the direction to pull into it. The door I need to get into, there's a guy sitting in it, and he's trying to get out, but then all of a sudden all this stuff starts happening around him, and one of the things that's happening is a guy who's clearly out of hours who has to crawl out of the space, and I'm worried that's going to end up being me, because sometimes these unloads at these DCs take a really long time, even though it's a tiny DC. But you know, Sam's got to make his money, so he can't have too many of those little people working on unload those trailers, because that would cut into his shareholders' money. You can't have that. And the saga continues. So now what's going on is I can't get in my door yet because I forgot I was trying to maneuver around a truck, and then I was like, oh wait, this guy came up to my cab real quick, and he's like trying to tell me, he's like, your setup is good, but you got to wait for that guy to disconnect. And I was like, oh yeah, the guy that is right next to me. And this guy's thinking I can't get around that guy, but he doesn't know I can maneuver around that guy. I know I can, but and it's a bitch to maneuver with your tandems all the way back. I prefer to line up to the hole and then get the tandems back and then back in the rest of the way. But the problem though is the guy that he was talking to. I talked to that guy a little bit ago, and his English isn't great, so he's having a hard time understanding a couple of things, but hopefully he's getting it now, because this guy just went and told him, hey, you got to disconnect from your trailer. He didn't know. He didn't understand, so that's okay. We're working it out. Dude was really sweet. He was nice. But I had a funny experience yesterday, I'll tell you. I keep going on side topics. I'll get back to it, I will. But I was in the weirdest layout of a Love's. I should try to find a picture of it and show it to you guys, because if I describe it, it's going to sound too convoluted. But basically, the parking is all, when you pull forward from the fuel island, you go to the left, the parking is right there. But the problem is, the spots where the trucks face each other are too close together for there to be enough room to do a U-turn. And if you were to keep going left, there's no way out of the lot. So it's very tricky. It's like if you don't know for sure that there's spots on the left-hand side, on what is your driver's side, you don't want to go left into there, because you're going to have to back out and maneuver around in the front of the fuel island in order to turn yourself around and back into one of the spots, or you're gonna have to blindside back, which is never a great idea. But I had this whole thing yesterday where I got in there and I accidentally almost kind of got jackknifed a little bit, because I misunderestimated the amount of room I had. I knew I was okay, but it was one of those deals where you're gonna have to inch yourself in and out to not bend your fairings, and I don't want to have anything like that happen. So I got myself straightened out, and then I backed into this spot, and this guy was like, "You made that look easy," and I was like, "I know." And I'm humble. All right, well, this DC is kind of in the boonies, and I have no idea where I'm gonna end up landing tonight, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because there's not a whole lot nearby. But if I use my sleeper berth split, I will have 4.5 hours left on my drive clock, which is plenty. I've got 3.5 on my drive clock if I don't use the split, so that gives me an additional hour. I can't imagine it taking a crazy amount of time to get out of here. Fingers crossed. I shouldn't press my luck. But no, the thing I was going to say before, maybe I'll link an article or something, maybe I won't, I don't know. There's a lot of brain science about sleep, and it's really weird how we live in a culture, and we're not the only culture, there's others like us that treat sleep like it's a luxury, which is really wild, because when you read about the nuances of how sleep functions for your brain and body, what you learn is that sleep is the most integral part of our health, or it's not the most, I mean, it's part of a complex of things, right? Like nutrition. I always used to tell my clients, nutrition, hydration, rest, and movement. Those 4 things. I like to kind of boil it down to those sort of general items for what makes up the total sum of your good health. Rest and sleep go together, and your hormonal balance is completely dictated by sleep. Like, a lot of that happens while you're asleep. So if ego helps, which it always does, I used to work with this kid when I was a personal trainer, and I was into bodybuilding, and he was into bodybuilding too. This kid was big on naps. He was huge, and he was in great shape, and one of the first things he told me was how much he sleeps, and I was like, I didn't think about that much until I read about hormones and how your body, one of the most important aspects of sleep, for those of you who care about these things, is that's when your body produces human growth hormone naturally. So if you want to be in shape, if you want to be fit, if you want to look hot, you need to sleep. Anyway, that's enough out of me. All right, just one more little end of night video. I am so beat. It's 8 o'clock, and normally I would be like in my bunk. We'll have already eaten dinner and like, sort of winding down and watching some silly Netflix. I'm watching Emily in Paris now, which is also a little bit, I don't want to say it's a hate watch. It's a show that I kind of think is stupid, but I still watch it anyway because it's kind of cute and silly, and the fashion in it is ridiculous. And when I was in high school, I used to be like obsessed with fashion, so it sort of like brings me back to when I paid attention to that kind of stuff, and it's really amazing. Anyway, side note, silly shows. I don't know why I feel the need to inform you guys of what I'm watching, but in case you're interested. I also love listening to people speak French, and it always makes me want to start learning a language. Does anybody have a favorite language learning app or audio, like something you can get from Audible that you can do just by listening? Because I love languages. I studied Spanish for a long time and I loved it, and I don't use it anymore, but it's something I've been thinking about doing while driving to sort of keep my mind stimulated, besides just listening to like terrible stories about terrible people all the time like I usually do. Oh my god, my eyelid is twitching again. I'm like, I don't know if anybody can see it, but I can totally feel it. It's this one. You can kind of see it. It's being crazy. Anyway, at the end of my unload, which took way too long, of course. And it's funny because when I opened the trailer, it was a super light load, so I knew it was something like it would make sense when I opened the trailer. And it was a whole load of Velveeta shells and cheese, which is one of my favorite guilty pleasures. So I was like, that's funny. And it's the same ones I buy, the little individual cups. Like if any place sells them, just one cup, I won't buy like the 6-pack, but I'll buy like 1 or 2 when I feel like eating cheese flavored plastic. It brings me back to childhood, another nostalgia item, if you will. So anyway, I pulled out of the dock and getting ready to go, and I look in the back of the trailer, and there's like 3 cases that, you know what, they'll leave stuff in the trailer when it's damaged, and that's why it took so long, because I'm sure they were like inspecting it and counting it and all that stuff. But it wasn't a lumper load, it was at a Sam's Club, so I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to take that long, but it did. It took almost 3 hours. Anyway, so some guy sees me exclaiming, you know, I gotta clean this shit out of my trailer. Where am I gonna put it? I gotta throw it away somewhere. And he comes over and he's like this super nice, gregarious guy with this big smile, and he's like this, his Texas accent. I'm like kind of by Houston, and he was like, I'll take that. And he's like, I was like, seriously? He's like, yeah, my kids will eat the shit out of it or something like that. He took it, he came and grabbed it from me, and he's like, you want to use my leaf blower? Because there were a bunch of like, you know, pasta shells in the trailer and stuff. He was the nicest guy, and it was just like so cool because I'm really tired and I'm worn out, and when you see that, you're like, I gotta, you know, I'm getting loaded in the morning, and that means I have to find a dumpster, and I gotta like sweep this out, and it's hotter than Satan's asshole out here, and I just like gotta get out of here. And it was just so nice. And it's one of those moments where you meet really nice people out on the road who you just, you know, he said I did him a favor. He did me a huge favor. That was really cool. And then there's a truck stop down the road, and I was about to pay $15 to park. There's no showers here. That's kind of a bummer, but I thought there were. But it was a truck stop I found in Trucker Path, which I use religiously. I highly recommend it to you new drivers. It's worth paying for to help you find truck stops. And sometimes people inaccurately report how many spaces are left, but it still has a lot of useful information and reviews and stuff, so I use it. And I found this place that was like less than 20 minutes away, because you can't park at the DC, and I'm too close to a major city to park at any of the major truck stops, because they're all going to be way packed by now. So I came down the road, I was prepared to pay $15. I'm like, it's a new, clean truck stop. I can just shut down and whatever. And I go inside, and it's these 2 young girls. She's like, oh, you're the one that called, because I called earlier. And I was like, went to pay, and she's like, I got you. I was like, oh, you made my day. So I was like, strangers helping me out today made my day. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, they kept me hostage for 3 hours, and I can't get detention, and like, or I can't really get much in detention, whatever. Getting annoyed about stuff that is just unfortunate, annoying realities of the job. And it really helps when people just randomly do nice things for you. It gives you something totally different to focus on. And it's just a really positive way to end a long, sweaty, exhausting day. So I'm going to wash my face and get comfortable and eat something and watch some Emily in Paris. And I'm also reading Billy Summers by Stephen King. I like some of his older stuff more. This is a more recent one, but I still love Stephen King, so I'm reading it anyway, even though it's just I. I'll catch you guys later.